The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. This is our 16th year of bringing you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. We were supposed to do our monthly live show with Dr. Eldred Taylor of the Taylor Medical Group the first Wednesday of the month, but we had a huge storm here in South Florida and knocked everything out. So we're doing our live show today. But listen, we also rerun this show throughout the month. And you can go to Spotify or iHeart or YouTube to either watch or listen to the show. This is probably our most important health show of all the 30 shows that we do. We were so blessed to meet up with Dr. Eldred Taylor. I am probably his biggest fan. And this is such an easy show because I just take the leash off Dr. Taylor and let him go. His story is so amazing. Welcome, Dr. Taylor.
Let's see. Hey, how you doing? Nice to be here. Missed you last week.
I know. Listen, it kind of screws up my month because I got to tell you, I look so forward to your shows, and I am one of those lucky ones who's on your Ageless Blueprint, which I want to talk about first.
Okay.
The articles that you put in there, Dr. Taylor, there's no one else I see in the country who writes about anti-aging, stress, functional medicine the way you do.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. You know, sometimes I put that out there and I don't know if anybody's reading it, because if you don't like it or don't comment, I don't know if you're reading it. But I just said on my podcast earlier that I've gotten a lot of encouragement over the week with people, you know, asking about the podcast or asking about how to get on Substack. So I'm glad. You know, before the show started, I was saying that I'm in this mode where I'm trying to dump all the information, all of the things I've learned, all the things I've experienced that I think will help somebody. I'm trying to dump it in podcasts and articles and all that. I just feel like it's a passion of mine to try and leave some of this information behind, because if you're saying there's not a lot of people out there talking about this, then I got to get it out there, you know, and hopefully I can try. Another thing I'm trying to do is trying to get healthcare professionals to understand this so that they can carry this on long after I'm gone. So that's why I've really focused on social media and how to communicate with people on a broader scale than just my little office in Atlanta.
Well, speaking of Atlanta, we started the show almost 3 years ago in the Atlanta market, and the show became so popular, we extended it to Georgia, and now we broadcast this out. We promote the show out on a national basis. I got to tell you, your Ageless Blueprint to me is like a drug. I actually go every morning, and before I read anything else, I want to see if my Ageless Blueprint is there.
Well, hey, I appreciate that, because like I said, I have a few people who comment, but then I see that people talk about it, and I'm like, okay, people are actually reading this. So yeah, the Ageless Blueprint. This is actually my podcast today was talking about what is the Ageless Blueprint, and what I was talking about is that the understanding that your thoughts and your feelings actually influence your biology. Okay, and that's why I was talking about stress. If you're under stress, it's more likely you're gonna have a disease. That is the Ageless Blueprint. And why it's ageless is that my podcast today was talking about how cultures across the world that had no connection to each other physically, I mean, they were thousands of miles apart, they all came to that same conclusion that how you feel inside reflects what you see outside. And that includes your health, that includes whatever situation you're in, is that your circumstances don't control you. You control your circumstances, and you control it by how you think about a situation. It's just like, if one person thinks of a situation as a problem, and the other person sees a situation as a challenge that they are able to overcome, they have a totally different concept of this same problem. And the one who sees it as a problem that is overwhelming and controlling them, that's what it's going to do. The one who sees the problem is that, hey, this is just a challenge, and I'm going to figure out how to get through it. And once I get through it, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be able to handle this better in the future. It's all about how you think about the problem. And if you think about situations in your life, the ones that you let overwhelm you, they potentially destroyed you. The ones that you met head on and said, I can do this, more than likely that's what you did. It's like, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're going to be right. It's all about how you think. And that's the Ageless Blueprint. And that's when I went to Egypt. That's what I saw in those hieroglyphics, is that they were giving you a blueprint of life and telling you that your thinking, your inner feeling is what is manifest. And I believe that's how the pyramids were built. They thought it, their energy was saying, this is something that we can do. And somehow they did it. And I don't know how, nobody really knows how, but back at that point in time, they had available the capacity to do this. And I think that as we've separated science and spirituality, it has made us less powerful, because we are not in connection with that higher power that allows us to do things that this material body doesn't think it can do. So anyway, I said, a lot of times when people talk about this, they talk about as new age. It's not new age. It's the Ageless Blueprint. When we're talking about these things, is that you don't really change matter, or you don't change the physical world by fighting against it. You change the physical world by changing how you see it, how you perceive reality.
Dr. Taylor, I was thinking about you the other day, and I know that stress is so important from what you teach, and that kind of leads to sleep also.
Yeah.
There are so many things going on in the world. Let's just say you don't even watch TV. Here's the government shut down. People aren't going to be getting paychecks. That's
Yeah.
pretty stressful.
Yeah,
How
I
do
know.
you treat stress now?
Yeah, like I said, you can't let that. My podcast today was about this inner kingdom, is about how you feel inside. So even though all this stuff is going on, you can't let it affect your inner feelings. You have to keep yourself calm, even though all this stuff is going on. And also, even though you're not involved in the government shutdown, maybe you're still getting your checks, it's not affecting you at all. But when you hear this information, it still causes, because we are all connected, it still causes stress in you. And so what you really have to do, and this is why I'm so into meditation, You have to quiet your mind so that, because what you'll do is you'll keep hearing about all of this stuff and it just keeps you in this constant state of stress. And even if you can calm your mind for 10 minutes, meditate for just 10 minutes and give your brain and your stress response a little bit of a break, it can make all the difference in the world just by a few minutes of not constantly thinking about all of the issues that are affecting you. If you can calm your brain down, that's when your parasympathetic nervous system can come in and it slows your heart rate down. It slows your breathing down. And now your body can actually rest and relax. And that's why people can't sleep. They don't know how to calm themselves down. And it's a practice. And that's why they talk about practicing meditation. That's why these yogis and whatever, they meditate 8 hours a day, every day, every day of the week, because it's a practice. And, I'm not saying that you have to do that, but if we could just disconnect from the stress just for a few minutes every day, it would make a profound difference in us.
How do you do that, though?
Well, I'll tell you, I had to learn to do it.
I remember that.
Yeah, I use this headband that actually can monitor and measure and give you biofeedback about what brainwave pattern you are in. And usually we are in what we call a super beta wavelength. And that means it's real rapid, it's real chaotic, it has no real order to it. And so our thoughts are like that. And our thoughts, that sympathetic nervous system, your nervous system is somehow connected to every cell in your body. Now, it may not be a physical nerve, but that nerve sends out these neurotransmitters. And what does that mean? It transmits messages from your nerves. So these neurotransmitters, they come into contact with every cell in your body. And when that nervous system is chaotic, your cells are chaotic. So they don't do what they're supposed to do. They do all of this disharmonic things. And when you stay in disharmony long enough, you're going to have a disease. So what you have to do is you have to think. I just showed in my podcast. You have to think in Philippians, it says, think on these things, whatever is pure, whatever is good, So it's about thinking about gratitude, love, peace, understanding, acceptance, not resenting people, not having anger. So you have to think these uplifting thoughts. And what that does, that takes you out of this beta brainwave into an alpha state that's very organized. And when your nervous system is organized, your cells are organized. And when your cells are organized, they can do what they're supposed to do. They can control your blood sugar. They can make sure your gut works right. It'll make sure that you sleep like you're supposed to. It'll make sure that your immune system does what it's supposed to do, because it's in this nice organized wave pattern. Now, what you really want to do when you meditate is get into a slow theta wave pattern. That's the wave pattern of hypnosis. And when you are in that state, that's when you can change your nervous system. You can think these thoughts, and it's almost like it is like hypnosis, where it becomes ingrained in your subconscious, and now it becomes habit, it becomes routine. And that's the goal of meditation, is to get you to the point where these new thoughts of love and gratitude and peace, they're the automatic response. It's not anger and judgment and guilt and fear. That's usually the automatic response, because we have been programmed through our past, through our parents, through religion, through the society, to have fear and guilt, to be afraid of the government, be afraid of this, be afraid of China, be afraid of whatever. Okay. And that causes disharmony or stress. So we want to change our focus from fear and guilt to love and peace. And the number one is gratitude. Is whatever has happened to you, figure out a way how it benefited you. You know how you say, hey, look, this happened to me and I thought it was the worst thing that happened, and now it's 5 years down the road and I see how, well, just act like, hey, whatever I'm going through now, 2 years from now, I'm going to look back and say it was the best thing that ever happened to me. So just start thinking that now. Don't wait 2 years. Okay. So we all have those experiences that say, oh, wow, I thought this was the worst thing that ever happened. And now I see how it benefited me, and it made me do this, and it made me change jobs. When I had that fight with my boss, I changed job, and now I have this great job where when I got fired, I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. So it just says, just start thinking that now and start thanking, even if it's something bad, say, thank you for this situation because I know it's going to benefit me in the future. I've started having a mantra that says, everything always works out in my favor. And I just constantly say that, even when something I think is bad going on, I'd say, hey, this is going to eventually work out for me. And I'm just going to keep that thought in my mind. And I will tell you, almost all the time, I figure out a way that it will benefit me, or it has benefited me. So anyway.
You just, I guess this past year recently really got into meditation.
Yeah.
How has it changed your life?
Oh, I will tell you, I don't miss it. Okay. This is the one thing that I'll tell you about meditation. In the Bible, it says, God comes to you with a still small voice.
Yes.
And if your brain is always constantly thinking these thoughts, there's no way you can hear the still small voice. So when I meditate, I calm my brain down. And when I finish meditating, it's almost like I know exactly what to do. It's like it just calms me down. Say, okay, do I need to do my ACES blueprint? Do I need to, prepare for my podcast? Do I need to do something at work? I hear that still small voice. And I think that's what intuition is all about. Can you hear that voice inside telling you which road to take, what decision to make? That's how I feel like it's made me more comfortable with my decisions, because I feel like my intuition is guiding me, and I'm not reacting to my environment. I'm responding to it. I'm not having this automatic reaction. And that's what happens, is that you begin to react to things in a familiar way. And so if you react to things in a familiar way, if I react to my wife in a familiar way, and that familiar way always causes her to be angry at me, I've got to change how I react to her if I want her to not be angry at me. So I have to change those automatic reactions. So meditation allows you to change those automatic thoughts and reactions, and it helps you to listen to that inner voice. And if it really will guide you, if you will quiet your mind long enough to listen. So that's how it's really changed me, is that I don't question myself as much. I feel like I hear that inner voice and I go with it. And that's what started me to even before I started meditating, that's what made me become associated with you. It was like, I feel this is right. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I went ahead and did it. And this is how long have we been doing this?
Almost 3 years now. Yes.
And so from that, it gave me the courage to do this ACES Blueprint podcast, and it was just that one decision 3 years ago. And that's what you have to understand. Sometimes one decision, one positive or negative decision, can change, your whole future. Okay. So if I hadn't had the intuition to say, hey, look, I'll go on this Ask the Experts show and just see what happens. And lo and behold, all kinds of things are happening. And I know you like the ACES Blueprint, thing. But if I hadn't made this decision, I don't think I would have done that, because I told you, I had a career of public speaking. I went around for 10 years, went all over the world talking about my 2 books and all of this. And for the last almost 10 years, ever since my sister passed away in 2016, I stopped public speaking. And then it wasn't all that. Then COVID came around, and now there's less opportunities. People don't do these big meetings anymore, are very seldom like they used to. everything's done on social,
Zoom. Yeah.
done on social media, so really me joining up with you got me started back on public speaking. It's just a different kind of public speaking.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so it really reignited me to say, hey, I'm really a speaker, a teacher, a communicator. And, you asked me if I enjoy writing. Any way I can communicate something that I think will help somebody, I enjoy it. So yeah. So anyway, I've forgotten
Well,
the initial
here's
question. Oh, how?
a
Yeah.
great a great text that just came in. This is
Okay.
from Tracy in Charlotte. She
hmm
said, Dr. Taylor, your show has really touched me. Uh,
Oh,
I want to know if you can be stressed out and not know you're stressed.
yeah. Well, here's one thing. You have stressors that you know of. My dog died, or I'm just saying. You have stressors
Right.
that you know of. But anytime you're in disharmony internally, okay, hormonally, your gut is not working correctly and probably is not working correctly because of past stressors. Okay. So, whatever your condition is now, it's really a reflection of 2 years ago, 1 year ago. What kind of situation were you in then? Because it takes time for that disharmony to show up in a symptom, whether it's your gut or whatever. So then if you want to change the future, you're going to have to start now. So yeah. So you asked, can you be in stress and not know it? Yes. You could be suffering from the stressors of 2 years ago. And right now, I'll tell you in my office, patients will come in and say they have all these problems. And I'll ask them, when did it start? And they'll say 2 years ago. And I'll say, okay, well, are you under any stress now? They say, no, I feel great. I feel great now. I say, all right, what was happening 2 years before you started having symptoms? That's when they tell me about all the stressors. So you can be stressed out. You can be stressed out from the past. There's no stress going on in your life that you know of right now, but the stress of the past has caused your internal physiology to be stressed or be out of balance, and you're experiencing the symptom now, but the stress was 2 years ago. And when we wrote that book, The Stress Connection, what really got us to understand it is that almost all breast cancer patients 2 years before the diagnosis had some significant stressor in their life or a series of stressors. So when they have the breast cancer, that stress may have been over, but they're suffering from the stressors of 2 years ago. So that's why a lot of people are like, well, why am I like this? I'm not stressed right now. Yeah, it takes time for that disease to show up, and it's due to this chronic stress that kept your cells chronically imbalanced, and then it just starts to imbalance the whole system.
I when I tell people about your show, I tell them your story. You had an incredible OBGYN practice,
Yeah, yeah,
and you
mhm,
basically gave that up.
yeah, yeah. I'm talking to. I am. I want to start another school group called Beyond the White Coat, and it's talking about getting doctors to get beyond their traditional medicine. And because of this connection of, you know, body, mind, and spirit, that's why I was so frustrated. Now, delivering babies, hey, I tell people, hey, 80% of the time, I don't even need to be there. You're going to deliver babies. I don't, that's not, I don't have anything to do with that, except if there's a problem, I can do a C-section.
Right.
But looking at other things, like all these patients who had all these hormone issues and had fibroids and irregular bleeding and all of this, all of these things. And conventional medicine really wasn't helping. And it really wasn't helping my wife, who was having all these issues. And so that's when I began to try and broaden my horizons and look at other things. And we started understanding hormones and how to measure through saliva and stress and all that. And my mother always told me that when you know better, you have to do better. So when I knew that there was a better way to practice, it was nothing I could do but try and do better. And so, yeah, I gave up regular OBGYN because there's there's plenty of people out there who can deliver your baby and take out your uterus if you need a hysterectomy. But like you were saying, there's not a whole lot of people talking about the things that I'm talking about. So yeah, if you want conventional medicine, there's plenty of people who can do that. But if you're looking for another way to frame where you are, frame your illness, frame your condition, then those are the people I'm trying to help. Because a lot of times conventional medicine has failed people, because if you don't have an urgent situation, then conventional medicine isn't necessarily a good solution. If I get in a car wreck, I have a heart attack, please take me to the local hospital. But if it's something that's a chronic condition, then a lot of times that's due to a chronic stressor that needs to be resolved. And then that will resolve your physiologic issues.
So how do they get on your mailing list, first of all?
Oh, well, if you go to Ageless, well, how can you get on my mailing list? If you comment,
Or Ageless
if you
Blueprint.
go, yeah, Ageless Blueprint. It's www.school.com/ageless. And school is SKOOL.com/ageless. You can get on there and you can be in our community where I do an ageless tip of the day, and I'll have some more information there. But then I also have courses there. I have a course on hormone clarity. I have a course on the 5 pillars of ageless living. I have a course on mindset mastery, and I have another course called the Peptide Blueprint. Is using peptides to help your body heal. Now that is $10 a month to be access to all of those courses. And also I'm always adding courses. The peptide course is new. I want to keep adding courses because I want to keep trying to provide you with information that can help you. So that's where I would love to see you, is on the Ageless Blueprint platform, www.school.com, SKOOL.com/ageless.
And you also do telemedicine. How do they get to your website?
Yeah, it's taylormedicalgroup.net. And actually on Ageless Blueprint, I can also, help you there. But taylormedicalgroup.net, yeah, we do telemedicine. You can book a appointment online, and I'll be happy to see you and help you there also.
We'll be running the show again. The next week we'll be replaying it. Dr. Taylor, I always look forward to the first Wednesday of the month.
Look forward to talking to you, Steve. So I'll see you in November. The year's almost over.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
God
bye-bye.
bless.
See
that's Dr. Eldred Taylor of the Taylor Medical Group. Folks, if you've got something that you know is not right in your mind, with your body, go to his website. He is amazing. He's an MD. He now really looks at holistic medicine. We're going to go to a break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.